Canada is often seen as one of the safest countries in the world, a place of stunning landscapes and friendly people. But beneath this peaceful surface lies a darker side. It's a collection of chilling mysteries that have baffled investigators and haunted communities for decades. These are the stories of lives cut short, of questions left unanswered, and of killers who may still be walking among us. Today, we're delving into the shadows to explore 10 of Canada's most perplexing unsolved murders. Number 10. The Vancouver Babes in the Woods. In 1953, a groundskeeper in Vancouver's Stanley Park made a horrifying discovery. Hidden under a woman's coat were the skeletal remains of 2 young boys. They had been bludgeoned with a hatchet. For over 70 years, their identities remained a mystery, earning them the name the Babes in the Woods. Police explored countless leads, but the case went cold. It wasn't until 2021 that a breakthrough came. Using advanced genetic genealogy, investigators finally identified the boys as Derek and David Doughton, aged 6 and 7. They had been reported missing by their mother in 1951. But the report was never properly investigated. While we now know who they were, the most crucial question remains: who took their lives and left them in that lonely park? The killer has never been found. Number 9. The disappearance of Lindsay Nichols. On a summer day in 1993, 14-year-old Lindsay Nichols left her foster home in the Comox Valley on Vancouver Island, planning to meet friends. She was last seen walking down a rural road. She never arrived. Despite one of the largest missing person investigations in British Columbia's history, not a single trace of Lindsay has ever been found. Police believe she was the victim of foul play, likely abducted by someone in a vehicle. Over the years, numerous persons of interest have been investigated, but none have ever been charged. Her family has tirelessly campaigned for answers, even helping to create legislation in her name. But for now, Lindsay's fate is a heart-wrenching mystery that continues to haunt the island. Number 8. The murder of Nancy Argentino. In 1983, 23-year-old Nancy Argentino was found dead in a motel room in Allentown, Pennsylvania. With her at the time was her boyfriend, the famous professional wrestler Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Initially, the death was ruled an accident, but the autopsy report told a different story, noting dozens of cuts and bruises on her body consistent with being a victim of maid abuse. The case was reopened in 2014, and Snuka was charged with third-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter. He pleaded not guilty, but before he could stand trial, he was declared mentally incompetent. He passed away in 2017, taking any secrets he held to the grave. While the events took place in the U.S., Nancy was a Canadian citizen, and her family has never stopped fighting for what they believe is justice. Number 7. The Highway of Tears. This is not a single case, but a tragic collection of them. The Highway of Tears refers to a 725-kilometer stretch of Highway 16 in northern British Columbia. Since the 1970s, dozens of women and girls, many of them from indigenous communities, have gone missing or been found murdered along this desolate corridor. The exact number is debated, but it's estimated to be over 40. The remote landscape, transient populations, and socioeconomic factors have created a perfect storm for predators. While a few cases have been solved and linked to specific killers, the vast majority remain unsolved. Each missing poster, each grieving family, tells a story of systemic failure and a chilling reality that for many, this highway is a place of unimaginable fear. Number 6. The murder of Alexandra Witz. In 1998, 14-year-old Alexandra Witz was found brutally murdered in the basement of a corner store just steps from her home in Dollard-Dermo, Quebec. She had been stabbed over 100 times. The sheer violence of the attack shocked the community. Investigators were convinced the killer was someone local, someone who knew Alexandra or the area. The prime suspect for years was a man who lived nearby, but there was never enough evidence to lay a charge. Despite a massive investigation and a large reward for information, the case grew cold. The brutality of the crime suggests a personal motive, an explosion of rage. But without a confession or a new piece of evidence, the person responsible for this horrific act remains free. Number 5. The disappearance of Michael Dunahy. On a spring afternoon in 1991, 4-year-old Michael Dunahy was playing at a playground in Victoria, British Columbia, just a few feet away from his parents. His mother turned away for a moment, and when she looked back, Michael was gone. It happened in the blink of an eye, in a crowded park. An enormous search was launched immediately, involving hundreds of volunteers and police officers. It became one of the largest investigations in Canadian history. Tips poured in from across the country, but none led to Michael. Police believe he was abducted. The case has remained in the public consciousness for over 30 years, a terrifying reminder of how quickly a child can vanish. His family holds an annual fun run to keep his memory alive, never giving up hope that one day they will have answers. Number 4. The murder of the DuPont family. In the quiet farming community of Trois-Rivières, Quebec, a gruesome discovery was made in 1997. The bodies of a well-respected couple and their 2 adult children were found in their home. They had been shot execution style. The scene was puzzling. There was no sign of forced entry, and nothing of value appeared to be stolen, suggesting the victims may have known their killer. The investigation looked into business dealings and personal relationships, but every lead turned into a dead end. The precision of the crime led some to speculate it was a professional hit. Who would want to eliminate an entire family, and why? To this day, the motive and the identity of the killer or killers are a complete mystery. Number 3. The disappearance of Michaela Bali. In April 2016, 16-year-old Michaela Bali was captured on various security cameras in her hometown of Yorkton, Saskatchewan. She went to a pawn shop, a bank, and a restaurant. The footage is unsettling. She seems anxious, constantly looking at her phone. At one point, she's seen talking to an unknown person at a bus depot. Then, after leaving the restaurant, she simply vanishes. There is no evidence she ever got on a bus. Her online activities suggested she might have been communicating with someone unknown, possibly planning to meet them. Did she leave willingly with someone she met online, only to fall into a trap? Or was she abducted? Despite thousands of tips and international media attention, Michaela's trail went cold that day, leaving behind only grainy CCTV images and a family desperate for her return. Number 2. The murders of Barry and Honey Sherman. This is one of Canada's most high-profile and baffling cases. In December 2017, Barry Sherman, the billionaire founder of a generic drug company, and his wife Honey were found dead in their Toronto mansion. They were found side by side, with belts looped around their necks and attached to a railing beside their indoor pool. Initially, police explored a murder-suicide theory, which was vehemently rejected by their family. The investigation later shifted to a targeted double homicide. The motive is a huge question. Was it a business deal gone wrong, a personal grudge, or something else entirely? Despite a multi-million-dollar reward and a private investigation funded by the family, no arrests have been made. The killers of one of Canada's wealthiest couples have seemingly vanished without a trace. Number 1. The Ketty Cabin Murders. While this case technically happened in California, its Canadian connection and sheer brutality make it a fixture of North American true crime lore. In 1981, in a small resort cabin in the Sierra Nevada mountains, Sue Sharp, her son John, and his friend Dana were found bound and brutally murdered. Sue's 12-year-old daughter Tina was missing. The crime scene was one of horrific violence. Sue's other 2 sons and their friend were found unharmed in an adjacent room. Suspicion quickly fell on 2 local men with criminal records, one of whom was the stepfather of the boy who slept through the massacre. In a recorded therapy session, the boy even described witnessing the murders. Yet, police bungled the investigation from the start, failing to secure the scene and losing key evidence. Tina Sharp's skull was found 3 years later, miles from the cabin. Both main suspects are now deceased, and no one has ever been held accountable for the Keddie Cabin Massacre, a case infamous for its brutality and its flawed investigation. These stories are more than just mysteries. They are tragedies that have left permanent scars on families and communities across the country. They remind us that even in the safest of places, darkness can be found. The hope is that with time and new technology, answers may still surface for these grieving families. Thanks for watching, and if you have information on any unsolved case, please contact your local police or Crime Stoppers. Stay safe.